to Sydney Water now, who have very quietly released on their website a final. I mean, I've been talking about this stuff for the longest time. I love talking about forever chemicals. I love talking about PFAS. I love talking about microplastics. They're all interchangeable terms. You will have heard of them before. Sydney Water have come out and said, for the first time, we are acknowledging that cancer-linked forever chemicals have been detected across Sydney's drinking water catchments. Cue the terror. What have I been telling you? Now they're finally admitting it. Water pollution expert Ian Wright says, I expect that these results will be quite confronting to many people. This also contradicts statements made by the authorities that there is no PFAS risk in the catchment. Without any doubt, further regular testing is needed and needs to be publicly reported. Now, the Australian guidelines are currently under review after America's EPA found there was no safe levels of exposure to these chemicals. And yet, where do we find them? They're in our drinking water, they're in a lot of your food, they're in a lot of your food packaging, they're in a lot of your cosmetics, they're in your sunscreen, they are in every meal that you cook in that amazing, it doesn't stick to anything, whether they're saucepans or fry pans. They're in your tooth floss. I could go on and on and on. There's a reason why in America they spend $250 billion a year. $250 billion. To put that in perspective, that's more than the US spent on the entire COVID pandemic. $250 billion a year, America says that they spend on the health side effects that people are progressively coming down with, given that these PFAS chemicals now basically have infiltrated every part of our lives. Even those disposable coffee cups that people drink, we go through millions of them every single day worldwide. Microplastics in those. We're just downing them if it's not already in the water. I mean, this is something that nobody has, paid enough attention to. The government has turned a blind eye to and keeps doing so because they know if they were to put their foot down on PFAS, which is over 1,400 different chemicals, by the way, if they were to put their foot down, it would mean putting the foot down on multi-billion-dollar companies and the way they produce their products. And governments simply aren't willing to do it.
And what's really highlighted the problem we've got is the fact that, as you said, the USA have said no level of exposure is safe, and so they have adjusted their guidelines, whereas in Australia there's currently a review going into it. But could that take months? It could take years, some people are suggesting. If the water supply is not safe, then that should be a matter of absolute urgency for our government, no matter what they have to do or how much it costs.